Good evening, Safe Space family, and thank you all for joining us here tonight. We are so blessed that you would take out your time to stop by and join us here at Safe Space. For those of you that have never stopped by Safe Space is a place of storytelling. It's a place of encouragement. It's a place of exchanging ideas. It's a place of information, all designed to give God the glory. For you to know that through these stories, through this information, through the instruction of knowing how to pray, seeing these victories, that there's always hope in the Lord. No matter where you are in your life, whether you're on the mountaintop or you're in the valley low, there is always hope in the Lord. And all we have to do is turn to Him. Whether you're a seasoned saint or you're a babe in Christ, He is the answer to whatever is going on in your life. Tonight, we have a wonderful woman that I met about 6 or 8 months ago. And the moment that I met her, sometimes when you meet people, you're kindred spirits with them. And in talking, we found out that we both are only children, that we had that in common. But she is I hate to use cliche words, but she is such a powerful woman of God. She truly is. Her countenance, her character, in the way she spoke to me, in the way that she greeted me, there was a warmness there, a familiarity. So for me, it says to me, this is a kindred spirit. This is someone that I can meet where she is. She meet me where I am, and we can truly bless one another. So the first thing I thought about, because I found out of her wealth of knowledge and her expertise, was to have her on Safe Space so she could bless you all. We have tonight April Dorn. April, welcome to Safe Space.
Thank you for having me.
It is such a pleasure. Let me tell you just a little bit about April, and then we're going to get right into the meat of what she has to bless us with tonight. April is a dedicated financial professional. She's a proud Florida native. She has operated in this industry for more than 25 years with experience in insurance and financial services. She is licensed in double-digit states in the United States and has earned a reputation for integrity, professionalism, and excellence. April is deeply passionate about financial literacy and education. She's empowered individuals, families, business owners, develop comprehensive strategies designed to grow, protect, and transfer multi-generational wealth. We're going to say that one more time. That is something that we have not had in our culture for many generations sometimes. She has strategic plans, developed strategic plans to transfer multi-generational wealth. That excites me. And to protect it, specializing in permanent groups of solutions. She focuses on delivering long-term value through holistic approach to financial literacy, which is so important in our community. And I mean the African American community. I know that we're all Americans and that we all need financial literacy, but we as a people have been a little behind in that. In addition to her professional achievements, now I skipped some stuff, but I would be here all night reading all of her professional achievements. In addition to her professional achievement, April serves as an African American marketing unit ambassador. She has a role that reflects her commitment to bring wealth to the gap in our community, in her community, guided by her philosophy. Get this philosophy. April plus passion plus purpose equals destiny. She is very intentional and inspired others to pursue their financial freedoms and create lasting legacy. Outside of work, she enjoys traveling, reading, connecting with others, and spending time with 6 beautiful grandchildren. I can imagine that's overwhelmingly fun.
It is. It is.
April, in talking to you and us trying to get together to do this tonight, you brought something very interesting to me, to my attention. And when you said it to me, I went, that's really interesting. But when I began to sit down and think about it and we had further conversation about it, it is so real in today's world. Now, I want you to pour any nuggets that you would like to pour in us. regarding what it is that we're going to talk about tonight. But we're going to start with, I'm going to say it just like she posed it to me. After the funeral, this is something we all have or will deal with, and that's finances after the funeral with family members. I've seen lately way too many situations with families that don't turn out positively because there were no strategies, structures, plans in place to deal with after mom died, dad died, brother died, sister died, child died, cousin died. So, what inspired you to come up with a strategy or to give special attention to finances after the funeral, April?
Because I've seen too many families survive the loss of a loved one, but not survive each other afterwards. We prepare for the funeral, but not for what comes next. This message is about protecting relationships because the greatest legacy we can leave is peace.
Now, coming from a financial professional, that's not the answer I expected, but knowing you first, it is the answer I expected. It is so important that we as people add to our industry and not allow our industry to define us because we are money driven. The answer you just gave me, and from the perspective that you're even focusing on this and developing strategies for your community for this, says that you're a person that you make the industry does not make you, and that your first and foremost thought is not the dollar bill that you're going to make. Because you everything you just said to me in answering that question spoke about people. And people, safe spacers, I'm going to call you as my big sister Dot labeled you all. If we can work in our industries first seeing people, everything else that dictates success in our world today will follow. It's
Most definitely.
inevitable. It's inevitable. So why do you think families have such great disagreements and issues sometimes after people pass away?
Grief is emotional, but decisions are immediate. Families must handle money, responsibilities, and plans while overwhelmed. When there's no clarity, people interpret, and interpretation often leads to conflict. Most fallout are rooted in confusion and not greed.
Now that's interesting. Can you elaborate on that a little more? Because the off the cuff thought so often when people are not seeing eye to eye is the thought that people are being greedy or they're being selfish. When you say that it's rooted in confusion, do you mean clear instructions or plans or strategies have not been put in place
Most definitely. Most definitely.
or they haven't been communicated?
Most definitely.
Okay. So that answer tells us that we need to take time to, as Proverbs say, seek understanding. We
Seek
need to
understanding.
seek understanding of what someone is feeling. Because I've seen situations where I think some siblings feel that they're being left out or overlooked, or and no one takes time to talk, to really seek the understanding. They're talking at each other and not to one another and seeking what this person is truly, truly feeling inside. And would you also say that people sometimes don't totally tell the truth or reveal truly what drives them or what they're feeling inside?
During a time like this, no, they do not. Most of us, we try to be as strong as we can. during this difficult time. And instead of coming together, we separate
In
instead of
offense.
correct. And instead of having conversations we need to have during this difficult time, this is why we separate, because we're not having those conversations. This is the time to talk, communicate, talk about your feelings before and after.
So what do you mean when you say grief reveals dysfunction in these times?
It removes distractions and exposes what was already there: unspoken hurt, old roles, and unresolved tension. Death doesn't suddenly break families, it reveals fragile areas that were never healed or resolved.
You know what's so amazing? That I'm talking to a financial planner, and every answer that you give me is people based because you see people, you see what they're feeling, you see what they're going through, you see what should have been spoken about, what should have been planned in line of clear communication and their finances before this ever happens. And all the acting out is a people issue. It's not a money issue so often. Is that what you're commonly coming in contact with? So you're a combination of a counselor
Most definitely. Mm-hmm.
and a financial planner because of the woman you are. That's a big mantle. What are the common triggers for division?
Unspoken expectations, unclear wishes, financial stress, and different grieving styles. Without honest conversations, families assume motives instead of asking questions.
So again, the communication, lack thereof, no plan to follow. Because I've noticed in my family, the closest two situations I've seen has been my mom's parents and then my own parents. But there was a plan there. There was a clear plan in place for those left behind to follow. And so it mitigated any really issues. But of course, there's always a possibility of offense. I can think of situations that could have been taken as an offense between my mom and her sister, but both of them chose not to be offended and worked through the direction and instructions that their parents left. And then I'm an only child, so
I'm my only child as well.
I remember that we
So
had that in common. So it made it a little
it
easier.
made it easier. Correct.
Mhm. But sometimes it's lonely being an only child. Sometimes I thought about doing my father died quickly, but I watched my mom decline
Mm-hmm.
here in my own home. And I wished many times that I had someone that shared the same affection for her that I did, that was their mom, that I could share memories with, that this is our mom,
Right.
the way I saw her and her sister do. My
Right.
grandparents died about 4 months and a half apart. My grandmother just grieved, and she did it kind of sneaky because I thought she was really coping well. But I guess her body just couldn't stand under the stress of my grandfather's death. But my mother and her sister, the day of my grandfather's visitation, his wake, excuse me, my grandmother, because she died second, they left. They got in the car and just left because they were both grieving.
Mm-hmm.
It was no matter how any of us felt, the grandkids, my grandmother's siblings, my grandfather's siblings, that was their mom and dad. And so they were in the same place of grief about them. And so they left. And I'm thinking, are they coming back for the visitation? Where are they going? I mean, they just split.
They just
They got
left.
in the garage and left in my grandmother's car, bagged out of the garage in her car and left. No one knew where they were going. And they were probably within 15 minutes of the visitation beginning, returning. My cousin Wanda, my aunt's daughter, had to go to the funeral home and finalize some things for my grandmother, her appearance, because our mothers were nowhere around. So I kind of wished for that. But I also saw them get along very well about things and stuff. They just didn't. But I'm not seeing that so much in families now.
And I'm not seeing the same. I know we had a discussion earlier, and instead of families coming together, especially siblings, when there's a loss, we should be closer together. We should be loving. We should be loving on each other. You need each other during this difficult time.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely, as you mentioned, I did not have this because I'm an only child, but I would have wanted the same thing. Someone, and to be honest, I remember my uncle telling me, he said, "Well, I'm your uncle." It was my mom's brother, and he said, "Well, the hardest part about this, I can't lay down with you at night when you go to bed and comfort you, when you go to sleep at night. And I know this is a difficult time for you when it's time to go to bed." And because he lived in another home, and being my uncle, he was just stating, I can't imagine how you feel at night when you're alone. And
That's true.
I can't, I can't comfort you during this time.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, if I had a sister, a sibling, someone that was close, of course we could have cuddled. We could have just
Absolutely.
held each other. We just could have cried, whatever together. But yes, it would have made things so much better.
Back to the money thing, because I want to ask you at the end, what are your suggestions that people should do to prevent this? But why do you think money or inheritance creates resentment during this time?
Money becomes emotional after a loss. It starts representing fairness, love, worth. It wishes, if wishes aren't documented, families create stories that can damage relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of them.
I bet you have all the family secrets and the things that are in the closet and the things that create generational curses on the bloodline and everything else. I can only imagine all that you've heard in the position that you sit in.
On the personal side and on just being who I am in the community. Yes. I have heard a lot.
So when you say money becomes emotional, I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. It becomes a representation of your worth in the family unit, or how much you're loved or revered, or the importance of you in the family unit based
Correct.
on what you may receive.
Correct.
Okay. So if I'm a
Or
brother or a sister and
mhm,
my sister gets a larger portion than I,
then you start to think, well, maybe she meant more to mom, dad, whoever it may be.
it's not always mom and dad and sisters and brothers. Also, I'm sure you've seen.
Correct. Correct.
What is the biggest mistakes family make before a loss, before someone dies?
Silence, avoiding the conversation, doesn't protect families, preparation, clear wishes, remove confusion, and prevent pain.
The same things that we've said before. So this boils down to be somewhat simple. What is the one thing that you would like listeners to take away or advice that you could give them to prevent this from happening?
Start the conversation early. Ask what matters most. Clearly, responsibilities, clarify those responsibilities, and ensure plans are documented. Preparation is one of the greatest side of love and acts of love. Preparation.
So, would you say that if a relationship was strained before death and things are even documented, that that would assist in things going smoother?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any suggestions along the lines of what you can offer tonight that you have steps that people should take, simple ones, that they can encourage their parents, aunts, uncles, loved ones to take to prevent? And would you say this too? This has just popped in my head. To have the conversation with those people that would be of interest to whatever it would be that they would leave. To set proper, as you said before, expectations. So people are not surprised when they die.
Write it down, make it plain, have conversations. I know in our community we gather a lot for many different types of events. What are we talking about? If we're close family members or if we are family members, we should know what's going on. Like we should know if Uncle Bob does not have
Life insurance.
protection. Well, protection.
Mm-hmm.
We should know. And if not, then we should have conversations on what we need to do to make sure things are in order. Make sure it's written down and it's made plain. We have to have conversations. It's all about conversations. And it's okay if you are not prepared, but it's not okay to find out when you're gone that you're not prepared. It's too late. If you're not prepared and you're still living, you still have time to plan. It's not someone else's job to make sure things are in order for you. It's your responsibility.
So generically, planning would entail writing it down or making sure they have a will or some type of legal documentation to make sure their wishes are known. Some type of coverage for the finances of making sure that their final remains are taken care of at the end of their lives.
Mhm.
And then instructions in place to settle their estate, whether it be home, bills, whatever. And written instructions as to the possessions that they may have, specifically where they should go. Is there anything that you would add to that?
Start now. Start now. It's never too late
Or too early?
or too early.
Well, April Dorn, I thank you for this unusual, which it should not be, conversation, because way too often, I was thinking as you were speaking about the conversations that are not had, and thinking about even people like myself. I don't have children and I don't have siblings, so I don't have any blood nieces or nephews. Now, I am called Auntie Shelby all the time, but no one has asked me, hey, do you have your final business, your arrangements in place to make sure if something happened to you, that we would have money, coverage, everything to make sure that we could take care of your final, your estate, your body, and everything that needs to be done. And the number of them that call me Auntie Shelby may not feel that they have the right, I'm looking for a different word, to come to me in such a blunt way to talk about such serious things. But it is something that I'm thinking about, because if a person, because we spoke about a situation earlier today where someone had to have the handle the final things for an aunt because the aunt didn't have children. Well, say something happens to my husband or I'm the longest liver, I would hope that they would feel open enough to come to me to say, hey, what do you want? Do you have your things in order? Is it plain? Is it written for me or whomever you have appointed to do that? And I'm going to make sure that I speak to the person that I want to make sure is done, because it is handled.
Right.
But no one has had that conversation with me because, as you said, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it.
And I've seen too many times not talking about it when it happens. It's devastating. And I've had enough family members to pass away. Some of them had things in order, some did not. Some had enough, some didn't have enough or nothing at all. Having the conversation and writing it down and making it plain, even if it's just one person you trust and you would like to share what colors you like, where you want to have your services, if it's maybe money, if money is involved, like all of this is these are conversations that we should have. Do I have enough? Do I not have enough? Who do you want to speak at your services? Who do you want to facilitate? What church? Like those conversations you can have early on. Because what happens a lot of times, it just happens. The first thing everybody think about is just planning. Oh, I got to find a church. I have to, funeral home. All of the stressful activity that we'll have to make sure things are in order. But if you have the conversations, it would be, or written down, it would be easier to just do it, have a checklist and just check everything off. Done, 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 done.
And it probably also mitigates so many different opinions and people becoming offended because your wish is being followed. The things that you asked to be done.
Most definitely.
And it should be followed.
And I hear a lot of times people say, "Oh, well, she's not going to know what happened because she's no longer here." Respect, love the person who has passed away, whatever their wishes are. If follow those wishes.
That's right. That's right.
But it's all about love. It's all about love.
That's the truth. Well, we've had the conversation, and what I want to reiterate is everything that she said. So I'm going to say this. Um, April is a consummate professional. If you need any type of guidance or anything, or you have the need to reach out to her for any of her services, April, please take this time to share your information as to how to contact you, and whatever it is that uh, you'd like to share as far as your contact information and the services that you offer, please take this time to share.
Okay, you can reach me at 727-641-8662. And this is my contact information. We can have a one-on-one, learn a little bit more about you. You can learn more about me and see how or if I can be a resource.
Thank you so very much. You could also reach her through me. You can go to my website, safespacewithshelby.com. There's a comment section there that you can reach out to me, and it'll send me your message, and I will put you directly in contact with April. Again, she's licensed in double-digit states in multiple services that structures our financial life, our protections, and all of that. So she has a plethora of information and knowledge. We had this conversation tonight because it's not one that is usually had. It is a reminder to get your affairs in order. No matter how young you are, no matter how old you are, get your affairs in order, because this is a perspective for someone that does what she does that I never really thought about, that she has to deal with on a constant basis. So don't put your family members in this position. Get your affairs in order. April, I want to thank you. Were you about to say something else?
I was going to say, and also love on your loved ones. Love on your loved ones. When you have had a loss, draw closer. Love on your loved ones. You just never know what they're going through, and I'm sure they may not know what you're going through. But love on each other. It it pierces my heart to see families divided when there's a loss. It pierces my heart deeply. And I've seen a lot. Love on each other. You need each other.
Love does cover. It covers. It covers our
And it,
imperfection. And the
and
word
it,
says it covers a multitude of sin. Love covers.
and
When
it may
there's
be
no
hard.
answer.
And it may be
Yes.
hard. I know it may be hard. I
Mm-hmm.
know it may be hard.
Mm-hmm.
But do your best to love on each other.
Well, thank you. That's a great word for us to end on. Thank you so very much for coming by Safe Space, sharing your perspective on this most important subject. It is serving as a reminder to myself to make sure that I go back and look at everything. And I need to have some conversations. It's a reminder for me to be very clear with those that I need to talk to. Because as you said, we never know. And it's sobering, this conversation that we're having, but it is needed and necessary. Again, if you all need to contact April, she's giving you her phone number to reach out to her, but you can also reach her through safespacewithshelby.com. April, thank you so much again for giving us your time tonight and sharing this perspective, giving us this reminder, bringing it to the forefront of our thoughts so that we can all spend time getting our houses in order. Thank you all again for supporting me. Prayerfully, this is going to be a blessing and a reminder to many. Thank you all for listening. Good night, April. Good night, Safe Spacers. This
Thank
is
you, Dr.
Shelby.
Shelby, for having
Th-
me. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so very much. Thank you all for listening. This is Shelby from Safe Space. Good night.